Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our stadium hangout. My name is David Riggleman. I'm the Communications Director for the City of Las Vegas. Our topic today is solely focused on the proposed downtown Major League Soccer stadium on Symphony Park in Las Vegas. There's been a lot of discussion about the proposed stadium, including a new financing plan that was announced last Thursday, September 25th. Hanging out with us is our Director of Economic and Urban Development, Mr. Bill Arndt. He's here to answer some of your questions. If you'd like to reach out to Bill or to me, you can reach us using the hashtag Stadium Hangout. That would be hashtag Stadium Hangout, one word. Should also remind everybody out there, we'll record this and play it back. If you'd like to find it, it'll be on youtube.com/City Las Vegas. So it's got all the housekeeping stuff out of the way, Bill. Let's jump in and first talk about the financing plan. It changed Thursday the 25th. How does that help the taxpayers improve their situation, lessen the risk?
Important question, and I think really kind of two things here, David. The funding plan essentially is still the same. The financing plan has changed a bit, and I'll explain what that means. The funding that we've proposed for the project is essentially still the same. The city is using some existing revenues from room tax dollars that we get in on an annual basis, and we're looking to use that to help support the project. We're using future sales tax revenue from STAR bonds, Tourism Improvement District. Majority of that money is coming from non-Nevada residents. And then finally, there's some infrastructure funds that we have in our budget for Symphony Park. Those three funding sources have stayed the same, and we've talked a lot about that in public meetings. It's been widely reported. What has changed, and changed for the better, is the financing. Our partner came to us over the last 2 weeks and said, we've heard loud and clear, not only from the council, but from the public, a lot of the concerns relate to risk and how much risk the city's taking.
Too much public financing.
Too much public financing. And simply put, the city was looking to do the potential of close to $115 million in bonds. And our partner approached us and said, we'll take over a piece and let you finance your money, we'll finance the private money, meaning we'll do a bond for a smaller amount, $46 million, with a potential up to a maximum or a ceiling of $50 million.
So that reduces
to $115 million.
So that reduces the city's risk by about $70 million.
So right, reduces the city risk dramatically. The way to think of it is we're going to have the potential of a $50 million bond or a mortgage against a stadium that costs $200 million. There is other public funding in from the future sales tax revenue and from the infrastructure funds. But on the city piece and the debt piece, it definitely greatly reduces our risk.
Right. Bill, we've had a lot of questions about viability of a stadium in the downtown. Will a team make it? Is this a deal that the public will support? Can you go into that a little bit?
Sure. I kind of break it down into two questions. Is the team viable? And then second, is the stadium viable? So the team is really the reason why we're doing it. We are not going to move forward with building the stadium and undergoing any financial risk if our partner does not 100% for certain get a team commitment from Major League Soccer. So that's an absolute must. So it really then boils down to, well, if we do get a commitment from Major League Soccer, what does that mean? Can the team be successful? Our partner, Finley Sports and Entertainment, along with the Cordish companies, has done a detailed feasibility study, a detailed business plan on how the team could be successful here. I'll give you an example. A lot has been talked about in terms of how many tickets the team will sell. And are they really going to sell that many tickets? And even some of the questions, does the league sell that many tickets? Do teams in the league sell that many tickets? And it's interesting looking at the business plan, the league knows to the point of being able to audit it exactly how many tickets are sold per game. And the reason is each team sends a share of the ticket revenue to the league to help run the expenses of the league. Market Major League Soccer, go after the TV contract that they just got. So that 18,800 number that has been talked about in all our public presentations and our community meetings, as far as how many paid attendees go to a Major League Soccer game based in 2013, that's an actual number. We think that Las Vegas is a market that's comparable to a lot of other cities that have had a team. Whether or not we hit that number, we're over it or under it, there's really no 100% way of knowing, but we think that the viability of the team is pretty strong. And then it comes down to is the stadium viable. And that's where we try to structure the money in a way to where our repayment of our obligation is not dependent on events in the stadium. In other words, if the team is there and there are not a lot of outside events, we believe there will be, but if they're not, the city won't be on the hook for those outside events.
We'll still be able to pay the $3 million a year toward the retirement of the debt on the stadium.
Exactly.
Bill, touch on that a little bit too about ownership. In the original plan, the city was going to own the stadium. In the new financing plan, how will that work?
So it essentially boils down to whatever we're funding directly through the city, we're going to own. So the bond that we're going to issue, remember it's gone down now from the potential of $115 million in bonds to 46 to 50. So we're funding and financing a much smaller piece. And that was the piece that we were going to own. We were going to own either the whole stadium under the original model, but now because we're funding a smaller piece and our bond is really going on only about a quarter of the whole project cost, we are going to own a portion of the stadium. We're not going to own all the stadium. So we'll likely have access agreements to make sure that the public has access to the piece that we're financing. We're going to make sure that we get community benefits from our investment. So there'll be potential for some advertising benefits for our community. But we're going to ultimately own the piece that we fund, and that is a requirement of our funding.
Bill, we've had 6 town hall meetings, 7th if you include the culinary union. We also had a meeting with them, a large meeting. At every meeting, one of the main questions that came up had to do with parking and traffic and what kind of problems potentially might that great stadium create for people trying to park at the games, trying to get in and out of downtown.
Yeah, my answer to this might seem counterintuitive because this is one of those things that we want that great problem to have. We want crowded streets in downtown.
That means people are coming here, right?
In downtowns, the traffic should move a little bit differently. If you think of any medium or large city across the country, it takes a little bit longer to get in and out of a downtown. We think today we have great access in and out of downtown. One big piece, and critical piece, is Project Neon. Everybody thinks of that as moving visitors to and from Southern California. For downtown, it's critically important because we're going to improve access in and off of the I-15.
That's a major I-15
slip ramp for Alta Bonneville, the slip ramp at City Parkway, which spills right at the front door of the stadium. That is a few years out, so we're going to have to mitigate traffic in and out before then. We are going to have a full-blown traffic study between now and December, should the council like to move forward. Parking is one where I think we have kind of a hidden advantage that many don't realize. We have a lot of parking downtown. Majority of the spaces downtown are not utilized 24/7. They're peak hours. One of our biggest assets, the World Market Center garage, which is full when the market is in town 2 weeks a year, is not full and is almost never utilized the rest of the year. That's a 3,700 space garage. When you add all the parking at World Market, the parking garage at the Pulaski Corporate Center where the Water Authority offices are, and you add the 500 Main Street garage that City Hall owns, the City of Las Vegas owns, and we park our employees and our visitors there, we have a little bit of usage on the weekends, but not much. If you add all that parking together, just from those assets and the parking we have on campus at Symphony Park, it's roughly 7,500 spaces, which is about enough to meet the demand. In addition, we think people are going to arrive early and stay late, so they may, before or after a game or before and after an event at the stadium, have a meal at one of our downtown restaurants, make a night out of it, maybe go to the entertainment district or go to the arts district before or after a game. So folks, I think, are going to park in a variety of locations. So parking, I think, will be very easily accommodated, and that's actually one of the reasons why the downtown area has always been viewed as a great place to do it.
Bill, we should mention to everybody too, you touched on this, the City Council is going to have a vote on Wednesday, October 1st to decide whether or not to move forward with the term sheet. If they decide to move forward, what happens then?
Well, that's really the first big step, one of two big steps. That sets the stage for finalizing all our agreements, meaning a development agreement with our partner, a lease agreement with the team, and behind that, a commitment from Major League Soccer. And so those three things.
Touch on that, Bill. If we don't
have to happen between now and December, should the council elect to move forward.
And if we don't get a commitment from the MLS, Major League Soccer, there would be no stadium. That's part of the arrangement here too, right?
That's exactly correct. If we're doing this, we need our anchor tenant for the stadium. If the team is not coming for whatever reason, whether or not our partner cannot be successful, or the league picks another city, or they decide to put expansion on hold. There is one expansion franchise right now that's available. There's a second franchise that's been given to David Beckham for the Miami area. And there's also rumors about existing teams that might be on the bubble of being on the market to be sold and moved to another location. Our effort, our partner's effort, really is focused on that last expansion franchise.
Bill, if we don't make the cut this time, if we're not the city that's selected, how long before we might see an opportunity for another Major League Soccer team here?
Yeah, that's an important consideration. That one of the, it's kind of a double-edged sword in that the league is successful right now, and the teams are much more successful and profitable than they have been. The values of those franchises are going up, which means somebody buying the franchise has to spend more money. So after this round of expansions, we've been told directly by the league that that's going to be the last round of expansions for a while, probably at least a good 3 to 5 years. And then think of the lead time too of building a stadium. So it's probably a 7 to 10 year window before an opportunity with Major League Soccer would come around, and it might be more expensive opportunity.
Yeah, true. Could cost us more down the road. Absolutely. Bill, the last question I want to get to here, we had a lot of questions at our neighborhood meetings about jobs. Do you want to touch on that? And all that was a question of what kind of job generation, what are we expecting as far as some economic stimulation from this?
Sure. I think two things. One is it's a big construction project. So we think at peak employment, there are going to be 1,000 construction workers on the job. That in and of itself isn't a reason to build something, but that is important. There have been a lot of folks that are in the construction industry that have been unemployed or underemployed the last 5 years. The permanent jobs we're still studying, our partner has shared some estimates. We want to make sure those are reasonable estimates before the city puts a number forward. But we think that a lot of the partners, the developers around them will build new projects which will generate jobs, and that really has been the hallmark of our downtown effort, is getting new private investment into downtown.
But we have just a couple of minutes left. Anything you want to add at the end?
No, I think it's been a positive discussion. We've had an opportunity to get all the facts on the table. To me, it really boils down to is an MLS team right for our community? Can we afford it as a community? And is the deal that we're putting forward a fair and reasonable deal?
The council will decide that on Wednesday, when they vote on October 1st. All right. Well, Bill, thanks for hanging out with us today. We very much appreciate it. We want to remind everybody that the recorded version of this will be available on YouTube. You can find it at youtube.com/City of Las Vegas. Our next hangout here at City Hall will take place on October 7th. We'll be joined by the Life is Beautiful founder, Rayhan Chowdhury. He's always a great guy, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Life is Beautiful. So thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll catch you next time on our hangout here at City Hall.
Thank you.